Hello, welcome back everybody to this week's webisode of Fishwick and Associates. So this week we're actually talking about COVID and the impact it has on local jurisdictions, courts, and the courtrooms. And I think actually John's going to kick it off with a story. Isn't that right, John?
Yep. So we've been operating under COVID, Zach, for the last 4 months. It's been certainly a change to our lives and to the courthouses. I'm glad to see you're back here, Zach, our host with the most. I see young Daniel out there, our virtual lawyer with the most. So we're going to talk about what's been happening in the courthouses and in our practice. I think it's interesting. It's certainly interesting to us. But Karen Daly has kind of been producing all these webisodes, and Karen has done a great job for us. She's headed to law school next year, and that starts soon. So the baton to produce these things has been passed to Tracy in our office. And Tracy has worked with me for well over 15 years. She's very talented. In fact, she may be appearing today. I'm not sure. I know she wanted to be on the webisode, Zach. I think she said something to you. She had said something to me this morning. Something else may have come up at work. So we'll check on that. Did she say something to you?
Yeah, she did. As a matter of fact, Becky had said then the following week she wanted to be on it as well.
Yeah.
So
A lot of folks in our office want to be on these. And so, we just got to get that organized. But certainly Tracy reached out to me, and Tracy does a great job. The one question I've had that I've asked you to look into, Zach, that we had this same issue with Laura Wagner. Very talented folks, but for some reason, they're very loyal fans of the University of Virginia football team. And again, I don't understand that.
You're misled.
It's just, I don't understand how that happens, particularly right here at the office. It's very concerning to me, but if you could just keep looking into that, I would be grateful.
Absolutely.
But so COVID started up for us on March 23rd. It's kind of our first date and we had a hearing by phone. Daniel and I were on that. We had a hearing by phone with the judge. They didn't want us in the courthouse. And I would say since then, we've had a lot of hearings, some of which have been in courthouses. We wear the mask and we go in there and we socially distance from our client and from the judge and from the other side. We've done a lot by Zoom, another software program called WebEx that's a little more secure, so I think the courts can easily operate when it's just lawyers and judges arguing about a particular part of a case. And that's a lot of our cases. We have very complex cases. We're fortunate to represent the people that we do, but a lot of our work can be done that way. And so we've done a lot of those. We've gone into a couple of courthouses, as both of you know, and everybody at the firm knows, and most people who work with me know, I pretty much every day wear a tie. I've worn a tie every day of COVID, even when I've worked in the basement of my home.
Born with a tie.
Yeah, I put that on every day. But yesterday I went to the Botetourt Juvenile Court, and they actually asked me in the courtroom not to wear my tie. And that was kind of a curveball to me. I didn't know how to handle that. But I, of course, follow the rules. We're rule followers here at Fishwick and Associates. But that was a real curveball to me. And hopefully that won't happen again. I just didn't quite know what to do. I felt not in balance. So Daniel, so that's kind of how it's practically affected us. It's kind of been, at least as relates to hearings, we've certainly been able to move forward with those pretty seamlessly. I think the jury literally is still out as to jury trials, how that's going to work. I think that's going to be a challenge, and maybe I'll talk about that a little more at the end. But Daniel, tell us a little bit about the judges. About every 90 days or so, depending on their court system, issue orders about how they're going to practice in COVID. Tell our listeners kind of what those look like.
Sure. And first, I'd just like to offer my condolences for your, devastating, tireless appearance.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Daniel.
It was a huge hardship, but as you mentioned, courts, they operate pretty formally through orders. There are standard court procedures, both in federal and state court, and, you can't really deviate from them even very slightly without having an order signed by the chief judge. So, for example, the federal court in the Western District of Virginia, they issue standing orders every 90 days or so regarding COVID, and they often, incorporate the earlier orders that say, what the rules are regarding hearings, regarding jury trials. And right now, the rule in the Western District of Virginia, in Roanoke at least, is that jury trials won't resume for both criminal and civil matters until August 31st. Now, there's always the possibility that as August comes along, that date will get extended. As you said, the jury is still out on jury trials. But these orders they tell lawyers and anyone who's interested, how the court is going to be operating, during COVID, for hearings, for trials, etc. And And so far, the wheels of justice turn pretty slowly, but they've been turning pretty fast in the response to COVID, which is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree with that, Daniel. And as relates to the nuts and bolts of our practice, like we've done depositions. Depositions are when we ask questions of the other folks in the case, or our client gets asked questions by the other side. We've done those both in person and through Zoom, and that's worked pretty well. I think, lawyers didn't think they could do that. I didn't think I could really do that. I didn't think it'd be the same without being in the room with the person, but it's worked out pretty well. And the hearings is very much similar, even if you are remotely. I think what's going to be the challenge moving forward is how are we going to have jury trials safely, and so that people's cases can really be heard and understood by the jury, and so that people are focusing on the case and not worried about their own health. And I know I talked to judges who are making these decisions and read their orders. I know they're grappling with it. I think they want to have jury trials as soon as we safely can. Ultimately, that's the backbone of our court system is jury trials. So I think that's the next step to opening up our courts. It hadn't happened yet, but hopefully that'll happen in the near future. So I guess the message, Zach, I would say to folks out there for the court system is we're moving forward. It's been a little different, but we've had a number of hearings, in the last 4 months. We've got a brisk kind of schedule in the next 4 months. We really don't think that's going to change. We have a lot that we have to do to help the folks that we're fortunate enough to represent. It's a changing landscape, but it's a lot of the same work is getting done, just in a little bit of a different way.
Yeah, we definitely haven't slowed down, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think this was a good way of folks kind of understanding it. I think sometimes people think, well, it's a court system shut down. Well, it's absolutely not. And we're knocking on that door pretty regularly, trying to get into those courthouses. Sometimes we walk through the door, and sometimes we virtually get in that courthouse, but we're getting in there pretty regularly, and it's a real honor to represent folks on the cases we have. So
from the sounds of it, half dressed at that.
Yeah, certainly this week. I'm not sure I'm headed out there anytime soon. But anyways, thank you guys for being here. Thank all our viewers. Zach, I'll let you sign us off.
Absolutely. And again, we thank you all. And as always, if you have any questions or comments, please give us a call. We'd be glad to answer them. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next week. Be safe.
Thank you.